Hi, I'm Lisa, True Spirit Intuitive Healing, and today we are doing Lesson 4 in A Course of Miracles, and we are doing this so that we can align with our spirit and co-create with the divine. So I believe that we're all actually doing this. We're all coming into our true spirits. I think that's what the awakening process that some people are talking about is. But part of this awakening process is like the dark night of the soul. I don't know if you've heard of that, or we're uncovering our shadow. And I'm speaking to this because I'm experiencing this myself. As the light and love in our lives increases, through our meditation practices, through doing A Course in Miracles, whatever practices you are doing, or because I know there's a lot out there. So I'm just doing A Course in Miracles with you. I do family constellations and meditation. But there's a lot of different practices that you can use to awaken the light in you. And but part of that is uncovering the darkness. So what happens is as the light in us grows, it moves into all these dark corners of our psyches and brings it up to the light. And so it can be pretty uncomfortable and it can be scary. And that I've been experiencing a lot of fear lately. That's the thing that I've stuck way down in the basement and really did not want to feel. And it's been coming out in different experiences that life has brought to me to heal it. And so in order to heal it, we have to feel it. And so we have to let ourselves know it's safe to feel it. So when you start to feel it in your body, and I was feeling fear like all tight and like a cage around me. Everybody experiences emotions differently, but sometimes it can be similar. And even in my head, and sometimes it moves around. So just as you feel it, just place a hand there and acknowledge it. Breathe into it and send it love. You don't always have to know what it's about. Just know that it's something that you're releasing. And it's an emotion, and you don't need to be scared of it, and you don't need to push it away. It just needs to know that it's safe. It's a part of you. And so let yourself know it's safe to feel this feeling, or these feelings. It might be more than one. And that you can be present with it. And you're not alone. We are all going through this at different points and different times, and some of us at the same time, but we're all going through it, and we all will be going through it. And if you can, to make it easier, try to find somebody to help you through it. Could be a pet. It could be just going out in nature. Some people find comfort out in nature. It could be your partner. But find somebody that you can just let yourself be with. I mean, for me last night, it was just in the middle of the night, I just needed to hug my partner, and that just calmed me and comforted me. So this can get hard. You're not alone. And it's about being with these feelings that are really scary and uncomfortable. Sometimes sad, sometimes grief, sometimes heaviness, sometimes shame. But it's a feeling, and it's just a feeling, and we can let it move through us. And we don't have to run away from it anymore. We can face it, and we can let it move, and we can release it. And so now I want to do lesson 4 with you. I was going to do it first, but it just evolved differently. So lesson 4 in A Course in Miracles is, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room, on this street, from this window, and in this place. Unlike the preceding ones, these exercises do not begin with the idea for the day. In these practice periods, begin with noting the thoughts that are crossing your mind for about a minute. So first note the thoughts, and then apply the idea to them. If you are already aware of unhappy thoughts, use them as subjects for the idea. Do not, however, select only the thoughts that you think are bad. You will find if you train yourself to look at your thoughts that they represent such a mixture that in a sense none of them can be called good or bad. That is why they do not mean anything. In selecting the subjects for the application of today's idea, the usual specificity is required. Do not be afraid to use good thoughts as well as bad. None of them represent your real thoughts, which are being covered up by them. The good ones are but shadows of what lies beyond, and shadows make sight difficult. The bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You do not want either. This is a major exercise and will be repeated from time to time in somewhat different form. The aim here is to train you in the first steps toward the goal of separating the meaningless from the meaningful. It is a first attempt in the long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless as outside of you and the meaningful within. It is also the beginning of training your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. In using your thoughts for application of the idea for today, identify each thought by the central figure or event it contains. For example, this thought about blank does not mean anything. It is like the things I see in this room, on this street, and so on. You can also use the idea for a particular thought that you recognize as harmful. This practice is useful, but is not a substitute for the more random procedures to be followed. For the exercises, do not, however, examine your mind for more than a minute or so. You are too inexperienced as yet to avoid a tendency to become pointlessly preoccupied. Further, since these exercises are the first of their kind, you may find the suspension of judgment in connection with thoughts particularly difficult. Do not repeat these exercises more than 3 or 4 times during the day. We will return to them later. I also want to note that this is my 3rd or 4th time going through the Course in Miracles, all of the lessons. At first, I think I was like a lot of other people that, oh, I did that already. But it takes a while to really integrate these lessons, and the more you do it, the better you become. And maybe for some people, they can just do it once and they get it. But I think for most of us, we're unlearning. We're unlearning everything that we learned. And so it takes some practice. So I just want you to know you're not alone. And you can do this. We're all meant to do this. We're all supported in doing this.